wig. Getting wiggy with it. Getting wiggy. Looking good today, Mildred. Hi, I'm Sarah Paulson, and I'm an actress. I'm also a dog mom. The other thing I am, that I think you all should know, is that I am a wearer of the wigs. So to that end, I think we should take a journey through my experiences with wigs. American Horror Story Asylum, the character and the season, so close to my heart. There is one thing that I did in this season where I sort of go into the future, and I wore a giant fall as I'm walking down into the playground to see my son, and that was a wig. Okay, this is a very funny example of me on Grey's Anatomy not wearing a wig. That's my hair. I don't know whether to be offended that this made it on this list, because the assumption would be made that that couldn't possibly be my hair, but that's my hair. American Horror Story Murder House. That's season 1 of American Horror Story, kids. Also known as my hair, not a wig. I wish it were a wig. I wish my hair looked like that all the time. I think it looks kind of glamorous. And we set it in these like giant hot rollers and things, but not a wig. All me. American Horror Story Apocalypse. There's that Venable wig. Here's a twist, kids. This was a full wig that had to be made because this was towards the end of the season, and we were going back and forth between Cordelia and Venable in a way that we were not going to be able to use my own hair. We had to like wrap me for the day in one of those tight Michelle Seglia wig wraps and then go from wig to wig. So that is a wig, but it was complicated. American Horror Story Hotel, one of my favorite characters, Sally, and that is my hair. That is sadly my hair. I was actually shooting American Crime Story, playing Marcia Clark, and I will tell you that sometimes I would forget that I looked like this on the days when I was working on Hotel and I was not working on People vs. O.J. Simpson, and I would go to like, you know, get some half and half from the store at the end of the night, and the guy would be like, you know, I'd put my coins in his hand and he would just look like, I love you, Sally, but that's my hair. My hair. This is Carol. This is also not a wig. This is my hair, you guys. There is a tiny story about this particular scene, which is that Abby had been driving Therese back home, sort of at Carol's behest, and I'd been on the road for a very, very long time, and I had come to set with my hair very coiffed and quite perfect looking, and Todd Haynes, the director, came up to me and like personally raked his hands through my hair to kind of give it that feeling of having been on the road and make sure that it looked very realistic. So you're actually seeing hair by the great director Todd Haynes. Ocean's 8. Now that is definitely a wig. What I can tell you about this wig, or the inspiration for this wig in terms of a physical standpoint, was Tory Burch. And so I didn't want to have a lot of dimensionality to my hair. I didn't want it to look overly highlighted, and I wanted it to look like a real single process blonde. You're trying to fool everyone that it just grows out of your head like this. Speaking of wigs, the wig that Kate wore in Ocean's 8 is like the wig I want for my life. It's just like Debbie Harry meets, I don't know, Kate Blanchett magic. It was so great. And everybody on the set, we were always like, I wish my wig looked like Kate's wig. It's so good. This Bird Box wig is my favorite wig, and it was designed, of course, to be as close to Sandy Bullock's hair, since I was playing her sister, and it was just so long, and just like, you know, my hair would never look like this if not in a million years. So it's a precious wig to me. Every time I put it on, I'm like, oh, if I could only have hair like this. It's a great wig. That is a wig. This is American Crime Story, The People vs. O.J. Simpson. Marcia Clark, that is a wig. Can you imagine if I was like, that is not a wig? I look so much like my mother. My mother has, her hair is not quite this curly. It's not permed, it's naturally curly. But it was very weird because every day I look in the mirror and be like, Mama, is it you? I loved wearing this wig because, you know, this is what Marcia Clark looked like at the beginning of the story, pre the trial. Her hair was sort of longer in the back like this, where we all know the famous moment when Marcia gets her hair cut and the world went crazy. But you remember, they make a joke about who turned her into Rick James. I think that was the joke they made. So mean, but true. The Post. This here is one of the most magnificent wigs I've ever worn. And anytime you have bangs with a wig, like I do here, you can get away with so much more. You don't have to deal with any messy lace. You don't have any like puckering. But I don't wear bangs in life, so it is always a little freaky for me because I have quite the forehead. So this is always weird to see. But I was doing a movie with Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. Like, the wig could have looked like a chia pet. And I would have been happy because that's a good day in the life of an actor for sure, and in the life of a very special wig. This is Ratched, sweet little vulnerable, sad, lonely Mildred Ratched. This wig was very special to me. We had a couple of them, and one of the wigs, by the time you get to the end of the series, we are heading into the early 1950s, and so we cut one of the wigs. It was very scary because then it left us with only one other wig. I think we had three. We would have one wig that I would wear anytime I had my hair down as Ratched, and then we had two of the buns. We had a big bun, and then we had little bun. This was little bun. We always wore little bun anytime Mildred was outside of her nurse environment. Anytime she was in the nurse's hat and the nurse's uniform, it was big bun. It was biggie. We felt like it was interesting to have a look that she sort of gave herself that would be somewhat imposing when she was in the hospital. This is how the hair can help inform how and what you're doing as an actor. Big wig. Biggie and littly. Thank you for joining me on this journey through all of my wackadoodles doodle hairdos, some of which are not wigs, but you know, they're worth talking about too. So continue to watch Ratched, which is now streaming on Netflix, for all the wig loving you could ever hope to have.